Well, welcome to the Stone Roadie podcast. It's the one you don't want to miss. It stars Craig Reed, the Stone Roadie, and Griff, the rocket scientist. Let's not forget Kathy Godsey and all the old friends that come along. Lord, we'll be talking Skynyrd and leaving you with a song.
Rise and shine, everybody. It's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
Hey, Stone Roadie Show fans, Griff Martin here. I just wanted to start this next podcast off with a different kind of an introduction because a little situation is cropped up where Craig is being accused of pocketing funds that are donated to the podcast. And the person doing the accusation is ARTIMUS PYLE. We've never had a problem with anybody accusing us of that before, other than when we did the Rocking for a Reason, which turned out to be a great event. But I just wanted to say a few things before we start the podcast because Craig is going to talk about it. Evidently what happened, someone took a video, which you'll see the video during the podcast, where the individual went up to Artemis, and I'm not going to name that individual's name, but he went up to Artemis and mentioned, have you seen the Stone Roadie podcast? And Artemis, yeah, what about it? And he said, well, I donated $100, the first $100 that they ever took. And Artemis says, oh, well, you just put that in Craig's pocket. And so, he goes on to discredit Craig, which I don't get it, why he's doing that. I really don't think he means it. I don't know why Artie does some of the things he does, other than, the man's been through hell in his life. And I don't think I need to go over why. A lot of those band members, they act the way they do from what they've been through. And not just band members, but anybody surrounded with Lynyrd Skynyrd, just anybody that was close to the band, like Craig, a roadie, anybody that was on the plane, anybody that was related to anybody on the plane, and on and on and on and on. Craig doesn't get upset too often about things, and I could really tell that this upset him only because he didn't say much about it, other than he's going to be addressing it. And I just want to make sure that everybody is clear that we've never had a problem with anybody saying anything about where the funds that we collect from all the great people that donate them. We've never had any problem with anybody saying that that they're not going to the right place, which are going to 5 of the plane crash survivors. And we all know, if you've been watching the podcast, that it's above board and very transparent. Craig says, who donates the stuff. He shows, his little paper about who it was. And, and we usually give it to the survivors before they come to the monument on October 20th or at the monument. So, it's just sad that Artemis is bitter about some things, and he's taking it out on Craig. I really don't think he means it. He says that Craig sells his underwear, and that pisses him off because it's really not even his underwear and things like that. Craig, I've never heard Craig talk bad about Artemis. Anything that I've ever heard him say about Artemis, he actually takes up for the guy. And for Artemis to insinuate that, I can see where that would bother Craig. So just giving everybody a heads up that that Craig is going to be addressing it. We got word to Artemis that that video is out there, and he could call Craig. He could stop it, but as of yet, he hasn't chose to do that. So Craig has to address that. It's not that he wants to, he just has to, because it's discrediting his name for what we're trying to do on this podcast. And it's just such a great thing that all these people are coming together and donating items for us to auction off, donating money, and we're just collecting it. It's not a lot, of money. It's just enough to basically it lets those survivors know that people are thinking about them, and it's not making a difference in their lives as far as they're comfortable now. It's just helping them get along through their hard times in their old age. And I'm happy to be a part of it, and Craig's feeling good about it. But when you hear, somebody who went through so much with Craig, I mean, those guys stay together in Hell House, Craig was part of the band before Artemis, he was there a year before Artemis. Craig was at that Hell House, staying in there, I think in early '74, and then Artemis came and replaced Bob Burns in the end of '74. They stayed in there together. They have extensive history together. And if you want to hear about how great Craig thought of Artemis, just go back to podcast 142, and Craig's son Chad is the one who told me to look at that, and it'll tell you. And I suggest that anybody that's watching this either watch that podcast before you see the one coming up next, or watch it after this podcast, because you'll see that Craig loves the guy, man. He does. And it hasn't changed that since this video. But I just want to thank everybody that has contributed to the donations and things, towards helping the plane crash survivors out that really need the help. Like, I'll show you. See that Lynyrd Skynyrd jersey back behind me? That was just donated by Peter Semino from, he's a retired Marine out in California. Great history of watching Lynyrd Skynyrd. He contacted me and said, "Hey, man, I want to do something for the monument, and it's autographed by a lot of great people: Huey, Johnny, Ricky. It's got Dale Krantz, Gary Rossington, Billy Powell, Leon's on there, and it's going to fetch a pretty little price tag there at the monument, and it's going to help those guys out. You guys that donate, man, Craig is putting that stuff in the right place. Craig, he has sold things on eBay. Artemis claims in the video that he's picking the bones of Lynyrd Skynyrd. The man was on that plane when it crashed, and, he has a right to survive in this world after something so devastating. I don't really see the difference in Craig doing that and Artemis playing Lynyrd Skynyrd music. That's my personal opinion. That's just how I feel, and that's how a lot of other people feel. I think what Artie's doing is a great thing. He's got a great band and some really great members right now. Got nothing to say bad about the guy other than it's not true that the money is going in Craig's pocket. It is not true. And I think everybody knows that. I think Artie has just been through a lot. He's very bitter about some things. But deep down inside, if something were to ever happen to Craig, Artemis would be brokenhearted, as would Craig if anything ever happened to Artemis. You know, it's a strange situation with these Lynyrd Skynyrd folks. You know, they have a love-hate relationship, but it's a very deep. It's just a sad story of really bad things that happen to a lot of people. And, you know, they have issues, you know, it's a dysfunctional family. But I just wanted to put all of the rumors aside, and I wanted everybody to get ready for this video. It is pretty bad. It's a nasty video. But nobody's judging Artemis here, you know. Nobody's. I put a post on Facebook letting everybody know that it's coming up because it has to be addressed. And there were some pretty hard comments about Artemis on there, which I didn't want that to happen. But, you know, there's even some people, you know, posting some things about his arrest record and things like that, which you'll see in podcast 142. Craig does not believe that stuff. And, you know, we've tried to clear his name and you know, we've looked out for the guy. And we're just hoping that that Craig and Artemis can get along. And that's what Chad Reed wants. That's what Craig wants. We don't want, you know, things to turn into a bitter situation. Just want everybody to be happy and, you know, get along. So, yeah, you know, you guys are going to see the podcast open up like it normally does. And then, you know, we're going to show the Artemis video because we have to, you know, address it and make sure that everybody knows that those allegations aren't true. And then, you know, we're going to talk about some things. And after that, Brian Bodkin, who's a guy who's made several donations to the podcast. He donated a Lacey Van Zandt book, a Gene Odom Blue book. He was out there with me at Muscle Shoals. I did an interview with him there. He helped me out in Miami, Oklahoma, when I went to Steve Gaines' birthday party. The guy's in the hospital right now, and looks like he's going to need a heart transplant. I put him in touch with Anna Ethington, who knows a little something about that because she has some heart issues herself. But he sent me a recording of the FREEBIRD Cafe back in 1999, I believe it was. And we're going to play that at the end so you guys can see what it was like at the FREEBIRD Cafe. And Artemis was there playing drums, you know, and he's in the video. So we're going to go ahead and release that. So I just wanted to go on the podcast in this little video before the podcast just to make sure that, you know, everybody is clear about what is going to be on this podcast, and we don't want to get distracted from what we're trying to do, and I just want to make sure everybody understands. So sit back and enjoy the podcast. Don't hate on Artie. That's not what this is all about. We love the guy. You know, he's been through hell, and rightfully so. He feels like, I think, you know, that people didn't support him when he was going through some things, and you know, he got fired from Lynyrd Skynyrd just like Craig did. Craig had to survive the only way he knew how. Artemis is surviving the only way he knows how, and so are all the survivors that were on that plane. They're all surviving the only way they know how. That includes Gene Odom. You know, he's been accused of horrible things. Everybody knows he and artists hate each other, which they really don't. They just think they do. Something happened between them, and you know what they accuse each other of is just lashing out at each other. You know, but in reality, you know, nobody hates anybody. They just have issues, just like family does. So just wanted to mention these things, and hope to see everybody at the monument that can make it, and make sure that that you bring some plenty to drink. It may be hot, you know. I think they're always trying to be aware of fire danger. It might be pretty dry up there, so you know, be careful with lighting any fires or anything like that. And also, cell reception isn't good. Get yourself a hotel room. I don't think there'll be an issue of anything selling out. There's plenty of hotels there, but just to be safe, and just be ready for some great music, and getting to meet a lot of fellow Skynyrd fans. It's an awesome celebration. And Craig will be there. I'll be there. So looking forward to seeing everybody. So you guys sit back and watch the video, and don't hate on Artie.
It's the Stoned Roadie Show, podcast 328. And roll 'em if you got 'em. Well, hello there, and good morning, fellow Stoned Roadie Dimension. And looky here. My name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stoned Roadie. And with me, as always, my co-host, co-pilot, and the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. So what the heck we got going on today, this fine Monday morning, September the 22nd there, Griff?
Well, you guys saw that little intro there talking about the little Artemis Pyle video somebody recorded and sent to us, and pretty much Craig kind of feels like it's already covered a lot of it. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and let you guys watch it, and then we'll come back and Craig will comment whatever he wants to on it, and then we'll move on to other bigger and brighter things. So let's go ahead and show that nasty clip.
Alrighty then.
I'm going to send in a video. What's your name to Craig Reed? Okay? Did a good job on it.
I was in the Jethro room. I got you.
Artemis, have you watched Stone Roadie Show with Craig and Griff? Stone Roadie Show?
He doesn't get on the computer. He's never seen it. What are you saying?
That show that Craig Reed has online.
What about it?
He's been taking donations for the survivors.
Yeah.
I was the first donator.
And
I donated the first $100.
okay. Well, that'll go right in his pocket.
No, I don't think so. I think they're good about it. Now they've
Oh, do you know him?
Yeah, I've talked to him a few times on the phone. Actually, I'm going to go down. Well, you don't want to talk about the monument, but I'm going to go down there.
Well,
next month.
Craig sells our underwear, man. You know, so people that I thought were friends that sell our bones.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, you know, they got no use for me. I got no use for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about this about 20 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know how I feel, right?
Oh, yeah.
So is that why you brought it up? Just to fuck with me?
No. I came to praise you for what all you've done. Good job. Thanks for carrying on with Bonnie's songs. I appreciate it.
Let's go. Does Alan let that say now?
Just y'all have a good one. Thanks for playing for us.
Piss them off. I know I would. Just to fuck.
All right, Craig. So what do you think about that clip there, man?
Oh God, you know, you more or less covered everything in your intro that I watched. I don't have a really lot to say. I imagine that Artemis is going to get get word of this, and you know, I hope he does some. I don't blame it on Artemis. I mean, he's, everybody, all his friends realize that, Artemis has been angry for many years. Hell, he even admitted he had the Artemis Pyle band, Artemis Venomous, and and somebody that didn't come from Artemis doesn't get on the internet or watch any of this stuff or follow my eBay sales. So obviously somebody has told him this stuff, and he's just chose to believe it. And that's kind of what upsets me, that Artemis, kind of we've got a lifelong friendship, I thought, and he just kind of abandoned our friendship, and I kind of went with the scenario that he chooses to believe. I mean, everybody knows how I started this podcast. I was on Facebook, and people knew I was an original road crew guy and was on the plane crash, and they started wanting me to share stories. So we started talking about stuff, and they said, "Man, you got to write a book." I said, "Man, I don't want to write a book. Everybody's wrote a book or done a movie, and I just, I'm the one that has the films, but the films were stolen from me, or I could have maybe done a movie, but whatever. Maybe I'll do something with those films." But so then somebody wanted me to do a podcast. I goes, "Yeah, I'll do a podcast with you," and then they fizzled out. So then me and Griff, decided we. Griff said, "Man, I'll just ask you questions. People all the time asking me questions. I'll just ask you questions." I said, "Okay." So then people started watching it, and they go, "God, you guys are going to be millionaires. What are you going to do with the movie?" And we just said, "We'll just donate the profits to the survivors," which how it started out. And then people started wanting to donate money to the fund, and I was going, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to start, taking in money. And God, there's so many people wanted to do it. I kind of felt bad. I went, well, shit, I can, take money in and then hold on to it and then divide it up as necessary. So it's kind of what we did. And then we did that Rockin' for a Reason down there in Jacksonville, which, and I don't know how I can be any more clear, or, because every $10 or $5 that I get, I put it on a piece of paper, and I say, "Hey, look here, so-and-so donated $10, and I save all of those things. It goes into a file, and then I just add it up and see who gets what. And then, we've already gave everybody 1,000 here about June or something, and now here next week I'm gonna either send people or give people at the monument. I'll probably just send it to them so they'll have more money to get to the monument this year. So it'll be next week. I'll be sending everybody some more money. But if Artemis would just investigate what he's insinuating, that I'm pocketing this money, he would see that we've given out almost $50,000 plus a lot of the time, so that money doesn't go through me. Like with Robert Wheatley, I just said, "Hey man, just send Randall, whatever you want to send him." I gave him his address, and it didn't go through me. And he does that to other people and the survivors too. So, we've had like Jesus for Survivors and Robert Wheatley. They're financially able to be big survivors, contributors like that, and both of them say, if they didn't know me, and they would hear what Artemis said about me, that it was kind of shaky about sending money, and that they wouldn't send money, and Griff has said before, God, well, all we need is one big donator, to donate $100,000 or something, and we could really benefit these people. But from what Artemis said, chances are that there was somebody out there that would have been willing to donate $100,000, but they heard what Artemis was saying, and they said, "Well, I'm not going to do it." But chances are that didn't happen too. But you never know. It just takes one person to make a difference. And the only person that we've ever had to insinuate that the money isn't going to the right place is one of the survivors of the crash. And I mean, Artemis was even asked if he wanted to be involved in a person to get donations, and he turned us down, like other people did too, and until they found out that there was actually money being paid. Then they changed their minds. But that money has been helping people out. But I just hope that Artemis does some investigation on his own and finds out that what we're doing here is a good thing. And I realize that things that Gene Odom's been involved in have been shaky, but it wasn't Gene's fault. Gene was pulled into these things that these shaky people were involved with. And then when it came down to it, Gene was the one that was blamed for the money coming up missing, and then those are the same people that sabotaged Rocking for a reason. And, it's just a shame that some of these people are out there like they are. But, I don't blame Artemis I don't know. The only thing I'm just hurt about is that he turned his back on me like he did. And that's like Griff said. I was with the Lynyrd Skynyrd organization a year before Artemis was, and I was with him 30 years after he was with him. So I after he was gone, I was with those guys for another 25 years. Me and Gary and Alan and Billy and Leon, all of us were best friends, and we hung around for 30 years. At 25 years after he was gone. He only did the original Lynyrd Skynyrd for 3 years, and then he did Ross and Collins till he got his leg hurt, and then he did Lynyrd Skynyrd for a couple years. So he's got about 5 years into them. I got 30 years. I mean, yeah, he's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame drummer, but I'm a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame guitar roadie. So we just played different roles. We lived the same life. I mean, everything he ever did on the road, I did on the road. When we were in London, and he got drunk and did that thing, spilled wine down the road at the wall at Lady Anne's castle, and she threw us out. And Ronnie was going, take him out, punch him out, and knock him out and stuff. I was there through all that stuff. So, he didn't do any more than I did. I mean, yeah, he was in the band, but, as far as I know for sure that all the band members in Lynyrd Skynyrd was considered me like a band member. Leon always said, man, if I ever do anything to you, fire you for no reason, I just quit. They made a pact that they would never fire me, but eventually I screwed up enough that it was the management that wanted to get rid of me. It wasn't the band. But at that point,
just from an outsider, like I've never met Artemis. I always wanted to, but I know that Artemis, he's seen Gene Odom on this podcast, and those two guys are just like, at each other all the time. And I'd say Gene probably attacks Artemis more so. And I think he thinks it's the Gene Odom, Craig Reed, Stoned Roadie show, and it's not. Gene's he's getting money, and he comes on every now and then. People like Gene, and Artemis and he have this whole Hatfield McCoy thing going on. And then the other thing too is I think Artemis, he and Gary kind of made up there at the end when they did that Dolly Parton thing together. And then when you sold that funeral brochure, I believe that kind of made him, a little pissed off about that. But you know, and Gary, and you've said it, you know, your whole intention was actually to see if his funeral brochure would sell more than Elvis Presley's funeral
I'm
brochure.
sure Gary got a kick out of that.
Yeah, because you and Gary talked about Elvis's funeral brochure, and you just wanted to
Oh,
see.
I don't remember that, but I was you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you guys talked about that, but
No, we talk about Gary was kind of a fan of Elvis, and we would I would take him when we played Las Vegas. I would take him through the kitchen and the way Elvis would have gone, you know, and stuff. But yeah, but I'm sure he.
but then the money went to
and then
Mark
when
Howard.
yeah, and then when you know, I'm sure Gary, you know, yeah, the money went to benefit Mark Howard when he was getting his leg replaced. I mean. But I don't. Gary would have never got mad because did that. He would have thought it was funny. But you know, everybody on that band side, you know, they all tried to drag me down the dirty road because of it. You know, but I don't understand why Artemis would do that. He's not really on the band side. He doesn't get along with any of those people. He's the one in his movie that put in parentheses greedy Judy, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I did remember seeing on a thread on a fan site where it was right around the time that they did that Dolly Parton thing, and and he had made up. They'd had lunch together and they were friends, and then Judy posted 2 weeks later he was attacking her. So, you know, I think just Artemis, he feels like he's been betrayed by the guys in the band, you know, and then that whole thing in Canada when you guys drug him off the stage, and you know, it's just it's stuff that really needs to be buried, and you guys need to get along, man. You know, you guys are getting up in your age, and ain't much longer you're going to be left on this planet. And you know, you need to be sitting around having a beer, talking about old times, and you know, being friends. But yeah, Artie, man, we love you, man. You know, you're a hell of a drummer, and we don't want any bad blood with you. I'd love to meet you, man. And I've talked to you on the phone. I know you probably don't remember it, but man, let's get past this crap, and just, and you know, and then I did have to laugh when he said that you were selling his underwear and it wasn't really his underwear. So not only
I sold, you know what? When I went down there to Jacksonville, I opened up that warehouse and it was full of clothes, and I started recognizing stuff that belonged to Steve and Ronnie and Dean and everybody. And I called everybody. I goes, man, there's stuff up here that I identify that belongs to you. Come and get it. And everybody that, you know, wanted stuff that they you know, that I called Judy. She didn't want nothing. She goes, don't that stuff stink? I said, well, it don't smell like roses, but there's nothing wrong with it. We don't want none of that stuff. Teresa the same way. And, you know, other people came and got some stuff, but the stuff that was left over, nobody wanted that stuff back then. So I put it in bags and threw half a Dixie dumpster full of stuff away. It's clothes I didn't recognize, and kept that stuff for 26 years. And then when I was leaving the band, I started making guitars. And I started selling guitars on eBay, and then people started asking me, man, you got any stuff that belonged to Skynyrd you want to sell? I go, you know, I got a bunch of stuff. I use picks, slides, t-shirts, hats, I got vests, I got all kind of shit, you know. So I started selling stuff, but I never had no underwear. If I would have had some, I'd have sold it. But I didn't have anything of Artemis's, didn't have anything of Billy's, didn't have anything of anybody's except Ronnie and Steve and Leon, because he lived here. And I had a few things about the girls.
And hell, you had to survive, man. You know, what the hell were you supposed to do? You know,
Well,
everybody's
you
got
know,
to survive.
if you watch podcast the 142, which you're gonna show a clip, I guess, after this, is that what you're
No,
gonna?
they just I just put in the intro that they should go watch
Oh,
that.
okay, yeah. The beginning of that clip, it basically runs through what I was doing after Skinner, you know, as salesman and all that stuff. And then it starts talking about Artemis at mile marker 3520. So if you want to skip over what I did in between gigs, just go to 3520, and that's where it starts me talking about Artemis. But,
And that's basically that you'd seen Artemis in other interviews, and if you were to ask him questions, those are the things that you'd ask him. Like,
yeah.
we'd love to have Artemis, man, come on here. We don't want to talk about anything that you don't like, you know, like the plane crash, and we'd talk about, you know, some of the crazy stuff you guys did. And I've never seen an interview with you when going over some of the things, you know, that you thought were cool about Ronnie, or just having fun with the band members and things like that. I mean, I know he probably feels like, you know, when he got in his legal trouble, they abandoned him and everything. Well, hell, you know, I mean, all you guys had a dysfunctional relationship, but hell, you can't take it to your grave, you know. But anyway, I'm sure you're probably done talking about that, Craig, and we can move on, and hopefully everything's going to be all right there with Artemis, and we can just forget about it. But no, the funds are going to where they're supposed to go, and you know, nobody's ever complained about it. So, yeah, you know, just
I mean, you know, well, last time every time I say, man, this person donated this, and I give the whole rundown of how much was collected, who gets what, and the whole thing, and then they get their money, and we take pictures of them receiving their checks. I mean, I don't know how more you know, open we can be about the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, and you and I, you know, spend a lot of time on this. You know, we're not getting paid for this. You know, we work our asses off. So
Yeah,
when somebody
I mean,
starts saying that it's not legit, it kind of like rubs you wrong, man. We're trying to help the survivors, and when you say something like that, it hurts all of them. And I'm sure
well, yeah,
Artie
this
don't
is all
want to.
free. I'm not writing no book or nothing, trying to make any money. I'm just on here going, hey, you got anything you want to know? You know, write to the Stone Roadie show and write a question, and you know, if I know the answer, I'll answer your question. But you know, there's a lot of information that people say that they've gotten from the Stone Roadie show that they didn't know. So.
Oh yeah, just I mean, look at the people, the guests that we've had on here. You know, we've had Steve Lawler on. You know, we had all the plane crash survivors. We've just about talked about everything. Kenny Peden, Mark Frank, Mark Howard. You know, Leslie Hawkins. We've had a lot of people. We're just missing Artie. We need to get him on here. You know, it's good for the podcast because that's good for the survivors. So
Yeah, Marty, let's smoke the peace pipe.
yeah, man.
Peace,
Okay, let's
brother.
move along. Let's talk about the monument a little bit here. You know, that monument celebration is coming up, and the jersey back there behind me, like I was talking about in the intro, nice gentleman that Peter's Semino. I hope I'm pronouncing that right there, Peter. We really appreciate you donating that. And he's got a little letter of authenticity that he wrote to go with that. And we're going to raffle it off at the monument. And here's that letter of authenticity that describes how he got it and who's signed it. And it's a really thick, really nice baseball jersey, and it says, I purchased a Lynyrd Skynyrd baseball jersey from a previous Skynyrd concert. I walked into Conotquey Harbor. Does that sound familiar, Craig?
Yeah,
Conotquey Harbor.
Yeah, that's in California.
Yeah, resort restaurant. And Huey, Johnny, and Ricky were at the counter eating. I told Johnny if he did not autograph this baseball jersey, I'd drop my 6 kids off next to his bus. He replied, "Boy, you've been busy." So Huey and Ricky started laughing. All 3 autographed the baseball jersey. There's a soup mark on the collar from where Johnny wasn't feeling good and he was eating some soup and he spilled a little on the collar. So that's a cool little thing. There's a little stain from Johnny's soup on the collar. And I don't know if Johnny would remember that or not. And he said, all autographs were from Kelseyville, California, 1998 and 2004. So he took it to a couple different venues, and some of the names have been signed twice. Here's a list of the names: Johnny, Ricky, Dale, Gary. Huey signed it twice. Craig signed it. Billy signed it twice. Ian signed it. Leon, Carol signed it, and here is the letter of authenticity, and Peter signed it at the bottom. So when you're out there, I would say, just for the heck of it, get some of the survivors to sign this letter. But we're going to raffle that off, probably a couple dollars a ticket, so it won't break anybody's bank, and that'll be something cool. And he also has a copy of the tickets to those venues that he's got here that will go with that. And so I'll bring the jersey, and I'll bring these letters of authenticity, and then we'll have some fun with that there at the monument. And Craig, you've got something. A guy's coming over to your house. That has got some kind of a guitar that he's bringing on Wednesday that you're going to...
Gene Odom that met some guy that's got this Langford guitars, and Gene said, I don't know nothing about guitars, and got me on the phone, and for some reason this guy thinks I'm some kind of a guitar god or something, because I was Skynyrd's Guitar Roadie and Journey's Guitar Roadie and Foreigner's Guitar Roadie during the height of their careers and stuff. So I told him, I said, man, I ain't been in the business for 20 years, but I still know some people. But
that guitar's made out of
I guess they live near Pittsburgh, which is 3 hours from me. So they're going to stop by.
But what about the guitar? It's made out of some 5,000-year-old wood.
Langford guitars started in New Zealand, and it's from some kind of a frozen over bog during the Ice Age or something that froze over, and it pushed this tree over, and it's kind of like one tree, and there's enough wood in this one tree to make like 50 guitars. And they got this special low impedance pickup that they're, and like I've said before, I'm not a guitar player, so I got this friend of mine. He comes over all the time. He's a collector, and he's a real good guitar player. And he comes over all the time. He lives over there where the train crash happened in near Ohio. The train crashed about 800 feet from his house.
With all that poisonous liquid.
Yeah.
A hazardous spill.
He's been buying a lot of guitars here lately, and cars and motorcycles. But anyways, he was over here the other day, and then this guy called, and he brought a couple of new guitars over, and so I called him, and I said, man, this guy's from Langford Guitars is coming over. Why don't you bring that Champ amp you got and come over, and we'll set it up, and you can play some of these guitars. So he investigated me. He goes, man, this is cool. He's looking all forward to it,
And you're going to videotape it, right, Craig?
Yeah, I'll videotape it. Yeah.
So that's a little something.
I'm gonna do it out in my shed. I'm gonna set up.
Yeah,
out there in my shed and do it.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That'd be something to look forward to. so that might be on the next podcast then, huh, Craig?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't forgotten about playing some more of the Paul Abraham videos, excerpts, the best of Paul Abraham. We did one not that long ago. We'll do some more, and we hope Paul is doing okay. We know he's been in and out of the hospital, and he's had some really bad health issues. So you guys say some prayers for Paul Abraham, and hope that he's doing all right. Then, Craig, you've got an interview with Crimson Tide.
Yeah, Tide Radio, Tide, 100.9 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Wednesday before the plane crash, which would be the 15th, and it's a sports thing. But the guy that contacted me is kind of like a musician guy, and they set up this thing where on Wednesdays he does a little thing about bands on the sports channel, but it's 100.9 Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and it's Wednesday the 15th in the morning, the morning show. But I'll talk more about it when I learn more about it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I look forward to that. So that's on regular radio, not an internet radio?
Yeah, regular radio.
Cool.
But no, you can stream it.
Okay.
On your computer or your phone or something. Just type in Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's a sports channel. It'll be Wednesday morning.
So when it gets a little closer, we'll give you a heads up on that.
Yeah.
Then Javier Medina sent you finally he got that jacket that he's been working on, the Stoned Roadie jacket.
Yeah, I'll be sporting this at the monument. Yeah, he's got my picture on it there.
How cool is that, man? He does a great job on that,
All this is the Stoned Roadie show up there.
Yeah, brought to you by Ganja Oil Company and Leaky Bongs. All the Skynyrd information and jibber jabber to jumpstart your morning. How cool, man. Nice job. And you said it fits perfect.
Oh, it fits perfect. It's not baggy at all. It fits my beautifully formed 158-pound new body that I had. You guys made me feel bad when I had that shirt on. You said, Craig, you look fat. I don't look fat no more.
Truth be known, is Craig had a high school reunion the other day, and he likes to be the
I had two of them almost back to back, so I was kind of preparing for those. So
yeah,
and I got another one October the 11th. So
because you graduated about 5 times, didn't you, Craig?
Just twice, yeah. So I had a whole bunch of things going on, including the monument. I don't want to be on here running my mouth about fat people and then go
right.
I can't have no fat nowhere.
Yeah, and I had
fasting.
I had a nice stomach virus yesterday, so I ought to be nice and trim too for that myself.
Yeah, we were gonna do this on Saturday, but now it's Sunday that we're doing it. We're actually doing it kind of early.
Yeah, we were gonna do it on Saturday because that way we don't have to hurry up and get it done before Monday in case something happens. But then something happened on Saturday, and I had a nice little. I broke my vomit streak of. I think it's been 2 years since I threw up. You said you hadn't thrown up in 50 years, have you, Craig?
No, since 71 no, from being sick. I've thrown up from alcohol poisoning a couple times.
That's all?
Yeah.
Damn.
Just a couple of times.
You never been seasick or air sick?
No, I don't get seasick. No.
Jeez.
We went one time. We all went out on this charter boat. Chuck Flowers was with us, and he was a merchant marine, and he was laughing at us all on the way there. Ha ha! You guys are gonna get sick. I was a merchant marine. Ha 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 ha! And he's the only one that got sick the whole time. He was leaning over the boat puke, and he was the only one that got sick.
Oh,
That was
God.
hilarious.
And he didn't think he was going to, huh?
Oh no. But he'd got drunk the night before, so that has a lot to do with it when you're kind of
Yeah.
halfway.
I tell you what, man, I was stranded at sea for 4 days. That's all I did the whole time was puke. After a period of time, though, it goes away. I guess that's, when you're in the military or whatever, if you're got seasick, that's just tough shit, man. You're just going to be sick. And to catch up, so Craig, you've got how many prizes out?
I got 7 of them out, so I've only got 11 more to go.
Yeah, that's great.
It's all I got to do is sign some stuff and put it in envelopes. It's pretty easy. I should be able to do it before I go to the monument, but I got to get this money out too. There's a lot of those little. There's a lot of donations. Even if for $5,000, even if every donation is just for $50, that's $100. And a lot of them are for 10 and 20. So there's probably 200 donations that, I got to go through, So it's a little bit of work,
Yeah.
So,
and then, the people that have gotten their prizes have contacted you, and they're all very happy with their.
Oh yeah, everybody goes, man, Craig, you went way out of your way, man. Thank you so much. Because I've been contacting everybody before I send them out their package and say what color kazoo you want.
Don't you have a pair of Artemis's underwear you're going to put in one of them?
No. Now, wasn't he mad because he said I was selling some underwear that belonged to him, but really didn't or something?
Yeah, so in other words, you were lying about the underwear.
About 10 years ago, somebody said something about Artemis, said Craig would sell our underwear, and I said, God damn right I would, send me some. So, I just laughed about it, but, when he started talking about the donations to the survivors, that's not good because, if you say that to the wrong person, it only takes away from money that the survivors are going to get, I mean.
And if there's anybody watching this that has not heard about what their donation went to or whatever, contact us because I guarantee you it's all about, and nobody's ever complained about it. So,
everybody's all got their money. We go through the whole thing and say this person is getting this much, and nobody's ever, and we even include the dang dividends we get from YouTube, which isn't much. It's like $70 a month, if that.
And then Leslie Hawkins invited me to her house, and I, handed her a check on video. We've got that on the podcast, and she really appreciated that. So yeah, we usually try if we get a big amount, we'll try to show, whoever we donated to. And like you said, Randall Hall got some money from Robert Wheatley, and
there were people that sent money into to me for Randall, and we sent it to him, and then Robert Wheatley sent him money a couple times, but I said, man, just send it right to him so I don't have to deal with it.
And speaking of Artemis, there's a video that I have gotten through Brian Bodkin, and I want to talk a little bit about Brian Bodkin because he's going through some struggles right now. I had Brian Bodkin. I did an On the Road with Griff Martin when I went to Muscle Shoals, and he was really cool and showed me around and took me to the recording studios and showed me some places that Skynyrd did some things out there, and other recording artists did, and I got to know Brian really well, and we became good friends. And then we went out to Miami, Oklahoma. He helped me out there with some videotaping of Steve Gaines' birthday party. And now he has donated a Lacey Van Zant book. He donated a Gene Odom Blue book, that he got from him a long time ago, and we auctioned those off, and they fetched pretty good money, and we split those up amongst the survivors or to whoever he wanted it to go to, because that's how it works. And what you got there, Craig?
My friend Cindy went on a Western trip, and she brought me back some dandelion tea.
Oh, wow, that's good for you.
And I've been talking on FakeBook about dandelion tea, so she brought me back some back. It's really good, man. It's got the, you put the hot water in it, and the flour on it's dried, and everything, becomes undehydrated. It's really good. She said, put that stuff in one of those capsules, and that way you don't have to deal with the roughies. Hell, I eat the roughies. That's what's good for you.
Well, you go out and pick it out of your yard and eat it, don't
I
you?
eat dandelions right out of the yard, yeah.
Yeah, don't ever get it mixed up with any of that hogweed or anything,
They're saying that dandelion roots absolutely cure colon cancer.
Oh,
so they cure it within 40 to 8 hours or something like that.
Damn.
I
better go out there and get some.
I think there's a cure for cancer. They're just something that grows in the ground is a cure for it. It's like pot's a cure for mental illness.
But anyway, back to Brian. So he's actually in the hospital right now, and he, believe it or not, needs a heart transplant, and they went in and cauterized some valves in there because he's got some AFib, and they want to try to keep him around long enough so they can get him on the list. And so he's struggling with that. And in the meantime, here he sends me an SD card that's got some old video on it from the FREEBIRD Cafe. He sent that to me. And I went through and edited the parts out of it that I thought were visible enough to present to you guys on the podcast. And he says, Griff, here's some video from 1999 at the FREEBIRD Cafe. I have more video from 99 to 2001 I'll eventually get to you when I have time. I did not film this video that I sent you. It's my camera, though, and a friend of mine was running the camera, so he kind of is all over the place. I think you'll be able to crop some good stuff out of it. The guy getting his ass kicked by the police, which it opens up with a guy getting beat up by the police, he deserved it. If the police didn't show up, we were going to kick his ass before they got there. He showed up drunk and started a shit show. Melody and Judy asked him to leave. They coached him outside. Then he tried to come back in. Melody was holding the door, and he kept pushing and kicking it. That's when we started to get involved. There was about 10 of us going to give him a nice ass kicking, but the police showed up before we could do it. You can see Melody and Judy walking around in the cafe, but it was so dark, I probably edited that out, and I looked for him. I don't know. Craig, didn't you say you recognized one of the guys playing in the band? Artemis is in there, and he's playing drums.
Yeah, I remember the singer with the hat on.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know his name or nothing, but I remember him.
So there's a lot of Artimus Pyle in there. You can see Artemis back in 1999. He gets up there and plays with those guys on stage, and so that's makes it really worth it. And maybe you guys identify whoever it is that's in there, and let us know if you know who they are. There's a couple Lynyrd Skynyrd songs that they did. It's only 20 minutes long. I picked the best part out of it. And then stay tuned for more whenever he gets time, and he's not going through. Hopefully he can get home okay and send us the rest of it from 99 to 2001. So you guys stick around. Up next is the FREEBIRD Cafe video with ARTIMUS PYLE. And we thought we'd go ahead and share that now. And so we got a lot of cool things coming up too. And haven't had a chance to go through the comments since Greg Martin was on here. What a great guest he was. We really appreciated him, and Chris McAllister for hooking us up with him. And I've been in touch with Chris, and we're going to do a little rig rundown next time they come to, I think it's in February, they're going to come to the Villages. I'm going to do a little thing with them, videotape their band and show what a tribute band goes through when they, and these guys, they sell out, man. They're pretty big time with their Second Helping band. So, and they've asked Craig up on stage to introduce them before out in Ohio. So nice guys, all of them are really nice guys. So that's about it. We'll watch that video. Craig, you got anything else?
Well, yeah, TP. I love you, TP. She sends me all kinds of cool stuff.
She is a cool
She
chick.
sent me this package here. I've been waiting to open it. It's, it says, everything rocks about you. No, everything about you rocks. What's that say?
Yeah, she's always
Everything
hooking
about you
up.
rocks. Yeah. Sent that to me.
And Craig, man, he uses every bit of that stuff.
Oh God, yeah. She sent me so much of that soap. I still have two bars that are still half big, half full, and there's two different types. But this is Bourbon by Bath and Body Works. Bourbon soap.
All right, so you'll smell like a bourbon whore at the monument.
No, I won't. I won't make this my road soap. And what else is in this thing here? Bourbon, Bath and Body. What is it? Oh, body cream. Oh, I'm sorry. Bourbon body cream and bourbon face and body wash.
Sweet.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, that's
What
cool
else
of you.
is in here? Well, it don't matter. Something, whatever that is.
Yeah, because Craig does take about a 2-hour bath now. I remember he came to visit me, and his son and his daughter-in-law and grandson were there, and he says, well, I guess I'm going to go take a bath now, Griff, because we were getting ready to go to do that Polk theater show, and then Chad says, oh, shit. Lisa, Tanner, if you need to go to the bathroom, you better go in there now because he'll be in there for 2. I said, man, I got another bathroom. And they're like, oh, okay, because he's going to be in there for 2 hours playing with his rubber ducky.
Yeah, you called me this morning and you goes, man, let's do that thing early. And we usually do them at least 6 o'clock. And I go,
Right, yeah.
yeah, okay, whatever. I said, I got to go for my walk. I've been walking every morning, at least a mile every morning. I walk up and down my driveway 4 times, and that's a mile.
Yeah, that's good. That's a steep driveway.
Yeah, coming up, but that's all the way uphill the whole.
Yeah, that adds another mile on it right there.
But I do that. I got to do that every morning. But yeah, then I took I haven't eaten for 3.5 days, and then
Again, you just did that already.
No, yeah, I went 5 days last week, and then I ate for 2 days, and then this is 3.5. This will be 4 days tomorrow morning.
Damn, man.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to eat tomorrow. I might eat tonight. I don't know. I was going to only eat Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I've already passed that, so I don't know. I was going to fast every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
You don't even like take like a snack or anything?
Don't eat anything. That's that dandelion stuff that I just ate. That's the first thing I've eaten, and 3.5 days. Which
Damn.
probably isn't good for, because that stuff wasn't very easy to
You be
digest.
careful, man, because your butthole.
I'm
might-
not even hungry. The only reason I ate that's because I've been drinking. Have been drinking that tea every day, so that's the only thing I've eaten.
I heard these guys that fast, their butthole will actually grow together if they ain't nothing coming out of it.
I don't really even get hungry hardly anymore. Yeah.
Damn. Well, it don't take much when you get old. Just a little bit in your palm of your hand, just that much food is all you need all day.
Yeah, it's surprising how people just eat because they. It's just what they're used to doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to do. Go eat just because I think I need to as soon as we get off of here.
You just don't think about it. You don't have to eat. I don't know.
Yeah, I finally got something to stay down there, and now that I got that to stay down, I'm gonna see if I can get something else to stay down. So, all right, Craig. Well, let's wrap it up, man, and then you guys don't go anywhere. We're gonna watch Artemis on this FREEBIRD Cafe drumming here, so stick around for some of that.
All righty, let me get my clipboard here. I don't know what I'm doing here. All right, podcast. What is this podcast number?
328.
All right, that's the end of podcast 328. See you later, alligator, at the Wild Crocodile, and happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, and keep toking until then. Later, bye.
And people who forgot about poor white trash, and if that ain't country, I'll kiss you.
Hey, girl.
Socks are clean.
Trying to fight him? Yeah. Look at his face. Damn. See ya.
And Alan Collins was very much a part of that program. And Alan, I know Alan's looking down, and Cassie and Steve and Dean and Ronnie, and they are loving all of you for being here and keeping the music alive. This place is really a celebration of their lives. It's so good to see all of you, young and old. I'm probably the oldest one here. And we're gonna play some music that we want you to dance to, sing along with, and just get down and spin with us, okay? 100 years old, I'm gonna switch to stand-up comedy and talk about everybody. We're gonna do a little Refuting number for you. Go, Hideaway.
at the FREEBIRD Cafe. That damn air, man. Remember me. Right here. You got it. We're done. You guys have a good time. All right, man. Take it easy. Y'all have a good time.
We got Greg went on a roll, and Greg's going to do something. We have a couple other favorite guys.
Let me hold that.
Show me your nipple.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, keep token until then.